2003 Jeep Wrangler with a 4-liter inline 6. And the way that this is set up, this is a low emission vehicle for California standards, which means this specific one has 2 small cats. If you can kind of see them, you can see the heat shields right there. So there's 2 small cats, 1 for each bank. And then there's also a main cat that'll flow under the body down the downpipe, and that'll be the cats in the vehicle. And after that, it's just your tailpipe, muffler, you know the deal.
All right.
So right now, we're letting the Jeep idle and just kind of warm up the temperature. And we are taking readings with this infrared thermometer on before the cat and after the cat for bank 1, bank 2, and also the main cat back there. We're about 2 minutes in, so we'll get back to you when we have more readings and we can actually tell you what's going on.
All right, guys. Today, instead of the Jeep, we're working on another Chrysler. We got this. You've seen it before. The good old 2000 Dodge Ram 1500 with a V6. And we're going to be doing the same test as we did on the Jeep. This time, we're actually going to be getting it up to 2,500 RPMs because it's more likely to not leak from the rear main like puddles did. So we're going to go ahead and get right on that, and then we'll get back to you. Okay, so we just got done with the 2500 test and all the before and after the cat temperature readings, and I'm just going to go over the temperature difference. I have a temperature gun here, so you can see those are the manifolds there. And I just gotta orient this right. So you have the cat. Let's see here. So before the cat, it's around like 389-ish. I mean, the temperature reading's a little off, but it can give you a good visual and everything for the differences. And then after the cat is 289. So it's about 100-degree difference before the catalytic converter. You can just see how nice and hot it is, especially down in the middle of the cat where the substrate is. It's definitely hotter because that's where all that burning of the extra fuel and particulates is occurring. So you can see that there, and you can see it gets colder as it leaves. And let's see if I can get a good video of it from this side here. Let's see. Video, and it turned off. Well, anyway, you saw it from the other side. It was very hot in the middle, and then it got colder as it left the catalytic converter. Okay, so here's all of the temperature readings that we did while the vehicle was running. We did it in 1-minute intervals for 10 minutes, just at idle, and then after that we went up to 2,500 RPM, held it there, and then did that for 5 minutes. So at the first minute, it was pretty, I just drove it into the shop, so it was a little higher at 160, but it could probably be a little bit more towards like ambient temperature if it was cold for a long period of time. And then as you can see, it started to rise a little quicker on this side into higher temperatures, but this side actually stayed relatively the same and lower. You can see 160, 175, 190, 181, 182, yada, yada, yada. And that was on the outlet. On the inlet of it, it got up into the 305 at the last 10-minute mark, but it was still at like 199. It was still below 200. So I mean, you could tell that the exhaust was cooled down kind of at the compared to the inlet and outlet. However, as you saw from the infrared that I showed, the middle of the cat is a lot hotter than anywhere else on the vehicle, and that's probably the hottest spot in the exhaust system. And then at the 2500, that's when it really kind of got hot. But this side, I mean, yes, it got into the 480, but it was still a lot colder than the inlet. And this is where it would actually start to light off, which is actually like burning the unburnt particulates and other emissions that's going through the the substrate in the catalytic converter. And that is actually going to cause it to actually heat up even more in the middle. So during the test, it probably would have gotten very, very, very hot. Even though it was only 660 on the inlet, 480 on the outlet, it was probably close to 1,000 degrees maybe on the middle of it. Because they can get, if you have a bad misfire or anything where it's dumping a lot of fuel, they can get red hot very quickly and actually cause some fire hazards and everything like that.
So right now, we're using a 5-gas analyzer. And this is what it looks like right now. The car is not on. So we have it hooked up in there. The exhaust hose on it too. Safety first, right? So when the car turns on, we're probably going to see some high numbers with hydrocarbons because it should be doing a cold start. So now that the car is started, we can see that our oxygen level and our CO levels are starting to stabilize. They're starting to go down. Our hydrocarbon is still a little high, but it's a cold start, so it's starting up right now. So it's going to idle for a little bit, and it's going to figure itself out. And then we have our CO2, which is pretty good right now, and we'll go back to when it starts updating more. So now that we've given it some time, our CO2 has stabilized at 13.9, which is above 12%. That's what we're shooting for. Our hydrocarbons are below 200 at 167 right now, so that's pretty good too. And our CO is really low, so that's what we want. And then this is an air-fuel ratio. Not exactly sure how it's doing that because it's Ask the Cat. But we will get back to you when we start bringing it up higher in RPMs and we can see the NOx change.